First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Bashmi Hawashai, Bashmi Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles of the great millstone that told me what I know, and as well as giving you brothers your deserved salutations, performing this ministry worldwide. And shalom to the Yakim Wakwa for Yom on the side of support. Most importantly, take heed, and this your brother Laban asked you another video in regards to the declining of the US dollar. This is from Bitcoin.com, and what I have is this, and we're going to begin by reading the US dollar's importance declining in international transactions and as a reserve currency. Economists say. A Canadian economist and professor at the University of British Columbia says the role of the US dollar in international trade and as a reserve currency has been declining, and other currencies have been getting more important in international transactions and as reserve currencies, he stressed. Economist highlights rising de-dollarization trend. Canadian economist James Brander, shared his thoughts on the worldwide de-dollarization trend and the waning influence of the US dollar. Last week, Brander is an Asia-Pacific professor in the strategy and business economics divisions at the University of British Columbia. He explained that the US dollar dominance in the global market is declining as a growing number of countries are opting to conduct their international transactions using local currencies instead of relying on the US dollar, Press TV reported, while noting that the US dollar is the major reserve currency and over half of all international currencies reserves in the world are US dollar reserves. He said, the role of the US dollar has been declining and it's still big, but it has been declining, economists said. That's pretty much all we need to read right there. And bringing the point home that which was once the world reserved currency, which was superior in the beginning of or after the Second World War, is now declining. So now what we're going to do is we're going to read some more in the next article, because we have another individual, which is an investor, and he says the same thing. So I just wanted to read a little of this one because I'll be here all day if I read all of these articles, man. So what we're going to do is we're going to read this. So this reads, dollar dominance coming to an end. Jim Rogers. And I had to go on his website. I really wanted to go on RT, but they blocked off RT long time ago, man. So you can't even really go into that website to read anything. So I'm on Azerbaijan24.com, right? So what's going on with this right here, man? It won't let me go down. I know. Let me do this. Right. Yeah, so let's read what he's saying. Dollar dominance coming into an end. Jim Rogers' U.S. policy and mounting concerns over credit worthiness are dragging down the greenback. And the investor says we don't need to read that. The U.S. dollar is starting to lose its leading position across the globe as Washington has become the world's largest debtor. Famed investor Jim Rogers told Sputnik News agency on Wednesday, and he even spoke to RT as well. The co-founder of the Quantum Fund noted that more and more countries are growing hesitant about the greenback as deep reliance on its use can lead to various problems. Yeah, inflation. Many friends of America are trying to find something to compete, with an untimely replacement of the US dollar, Rogers said in an interview with the Russia outlet. According to the investors, an international currency should have an absolute neutral status, and the lack of neutrality demonstrated by the White House, along with growing concerns over U.S. credit worthiness, have deprived the greenback of that quality. So this reads, I want to read some more on this. Many people are starting to say, wait a minute, I don't know if we want to use that money because it will have a problem someday, he said. But also, the world's international currency is supposed to be completely neutral. Anybody can use it for anything you want. But now Washington is changing the rules, and if they get angry at you, they cut you off. So that's really what these nations are looking at. is that somehow, some way, someday this dollar could make our currency worse. And as well as this, we gotta worry about if America is gonna cut us off if we do A, B, and C and D. So it's prompting them to be fully persuaded into leaving the U.S. dollar. And once the dollar is being renounced over and over, that's gonna what lead to more inflation. This is where you have the BRICS nations, right? And the ultimate reason why this is happening anyway, because the world is bringing forth a new currency, and it's going to be a digital currency in this case. All right, and as well as a recession is actually on and happening right now, and all of that is going to bring in the new reset system that the Clausian crew wants to bring in. The World Economic Forum in this case. That's why all of this is ultimately happening. All right. And now what I want to do is I want to read a scripture in the book of Ecclesiastes 12. Verse 1. And we're going to begin by reading verse 1. What I meant to say. And then we're going to read to verse 3. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the year draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble. Who are the keepers of the house? Your economists. And the strong men shall bow themselves. That means your men that's in power. And the grinders cease. In other words, there's not going to be no work, no jobs, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. And then you have a lot of people being laid off of their jobs, including as well. So all of your economists, those that keep the house, they're looking out and they're seeing where the economy's going, and they're looking at their currency and everything, and they're giving they're speaking on the same things, and they're giving their similar opinions on where they see everything going in regards to the economy. All right. And these are not just people that are stating their opinions just out of the blue. These are people that are coming from, How could I put this? Schools of higher knowledge, so to speak. All right. Your different universities have you will. So now what I want to do is I want to change the topic, and I want to get into this right here. Just to briefly read about this, because as this reads, ex-US bank bosses call collapse unprecedented. The former bosses of two U.S. banks that collapsed in March, sparking global fears over the state of the financial industry, say the failure were caused by unprecedented circumstances. And I beg to differ. I disagree with what he just said there. I believe that they knew what they were going to do. All right. They knew that this was going to come. They knew it was going to be, instead of it being unprecedented, it was precedented. They knew about it. The remarks come in the testimony prepared for a hearing in Washington on Tuesday. So this reads, lawmakers are examining the episode amid debates over what should have been done to prevent it. Former SMV chief Greg Becker is set to tell Congress he never imagined such events. Yeah, right. In his prepared remarks, he blames the bank's downfall on social media, rumors, and mixed messages about borrowing costs from the U.S. Central Bank. Right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to get to the point of this article that I want to read to you. So this reads, share prices in many other lenders plunged and billions of dollars were transferred out of the firm seen as potentially risky. Regulators in the U.S. ultimately seized two other mid-sized bank signatures. Let's slow it down. U.S. ultimately seized two other mid-sized banks, Signature Bank and First Republic, hit by the concerns. In Europe, the turmoil sparked the forced takeover of the troubled Swiss giant Credit Suisse. And I remember speaking about this a couple of months back when this topic just blew up, right? Concerning the SMB Bank. You had, the First Republic Bank, Signature Bank, So when these banks collapsed, right along with the S&B bank, it led to a domino effect, and it troubled the Swiss bank. All right. So let's continue to read on just a little. The episode continued to unsettle financial markets and has sparked debate in the U.S. about financial regulations and whether authorities took the proper action. And I just want to mention this in saying as well that this was nothing more than a trial run to see if they collapse one bank, one major bank, then what can it lead to? As they already knew, they knew it was going to lead to a domino effect of the collapsing of other banks, or having a negative effect on other banks. Excuse me. All right. So eventually, what we're coming into, and I'm going to say this again, we're coming into a new world, a new system, where it's going to be, everything's going to be digital, and around about that time period, as we're transitioning from this world to the CBDC, eventually there lies the mark of the you know what. All right. Let me just say it, the mark of the beast in this case, because I'm not comparing it to anything, so that's what's next in line. This is what we see the men of the Lord coming. Okay. Just by reading these different articles of economists and those that have invested greatly in stocks, giving their take and reading what they're saying, and just seeing everything turn out the way it's going to turn out through these articles, man. Okay. So yeah, man, what I want to do is I want to read something else. Says. So yeah, just to fast forward a little bit as well, because I kind of did something wrong. So I just want to, fast forward that and get into this article as well. As this read, SMB Signature Bank, I'm confident we will have more bank failures, former FDIC chair says. And he says that at the end of the video, and it's looking like I won't be able to put this on the post-production. So what I'll do is I'll send you the link and you can go check this whole video out and hear what the man is saying. All economists, those that have invested in stocks and in the way that they've done it, they're all saying the same thing, that the country's going to start to really diving down to a recession, which I believe we're already in a recession anyway, but it's just going to be a worse one at that, to the point of collapsing. Okay, so now let me read this. This is Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 3. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, and a time to mourn and a time to dance. And this is the times that we're coming into first. We're coming into a time of a breaking down of a system. We're coming into a time of weeping and as well as mourning. And when the smoke and the dust is cleared of all of this negativity in this world, and when the saints are delivered and saved from all of this, then it's going to be a time to dance. All right. But right about now, we are in a time of the end of the so-called white man in this dominant rule, especially beginning with the, those that are of the small elk, so to speak. So yeah, I think that's all I have to really bring to you. Oh, and I can't forget this as well. There's plenty of articles on the Google. All I did was type in bank closures, and you have companies that are closing their banks, especially Barclays Bank. They're looking to close 110 bank branches this year. So as you can already see, we're already in a recession, and we're diving more deeper into that towards the collapse of this system. It could be a matter of maybe 5 to 6 months, or we could be here for another year. Society can continue to go, and the debt bubble can keep growing until the bubble just bursts, and then we're going to witness a global catastrophe, a collapsing at that. All right, so that's pretty much all I have to say on this right here. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashmi, Yahweh Shai Bashmi, Vakak Wadash. And with that, I am out. Shalom.